welcome again to another Curator's Chat. I'm Jason French, Curator of Collections here at the Behringer-Crawford Museum. Today we're in our Education Center. We've got a little Derby-themed exhibit. Now the Derby, the Kentucky Derby's over, but it was a very historic year. So we decided that we'd bring back Dr. Jim Claypool, who is a bit of a Derby aficionado and an expert in all things horse racing here in the state of Kentucky. And maybe he could give us a little context to what happened this year that was so unique in the Kentucky Derby.
Well, people are still scratching their heads, I can tell you that. It was kind of a fairy tale story. The horse that won it, of course, Rich Strike, was a $30,000 claimer. He started down at Ellis on the turf, did nothing. He went to Churchill, where he did very well. He won by 17.5 lengths, broke his maiden. He was claimed by Joe Sharp, and then later Mr. Keene, who's a regular at Turfway and River Downs, got him and started racing him. He ran down in the fairgrounds against Epicenter, the horse that he ran down in the stretch here at the Derby. Epicenter was everybody's pick to win the Derby this year, and he lost to him by 14 lengths. He ran fifth in a 7-horse field. Then he came to Turfway, so he's a Turfway horse. He's a local horse in every sense of the word, and his trainer is a local trainer, and also the jockey rides over at River Downs. In fact, that jockey rode the day before the Derby 5 races and never hit the board, so you never know what's going to happen in racing, as you well know. He ran in 3 races at Turfway. He ran 3rd in the Battaglia, he ran 4th in another stakes race, and he ran 3rd in the Jeff Ruby Stakes. Nothing to really indicate that he was going to do well. And by running 3rd in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, he earned 20 points toward Derby. And that's the 20 points that got him into the Derby.
Really?
Yeah.
So he gets into the Derby. It was really unexpected, right?
He was number 21. There were 20 horses. They always have 20 horses. He was next in line. And with 36 hours to go, they scratched the 20 horse, and he got in. The trainer could not believe it. All he wanted to do was have a horse in the Derby. He hoped that the horse would finish in the top 10 or so. And incidentally, the 3 horses out of the Jeff Ruby Stakes finished number 1, number 7, and number 10 in the Derby, which says quite a bit. So there he goes with Sonny Leon, who's never won a stake race, never run against the top jockeys that he was facing there at Churchill Downs, and he had the worst post position possible.
And he still made it and won.
He made it and won. Epicenter took the lead. The top of the stretch looked like a sure winner with Joe Rosario aboard. And Leon was able, if you see the overhead, they run it several times, he was able to maneuver from last place right in through the horses and along the rail. The 4-horse, if he had cut him off there, he'd have never gotten through in that rail, but he didn't. And Leon was able to get through, come on the rail, and win going away, actually.
Wow, so it was really. Has there ever been another race that's quite like this? Is it something that's just completely unique? It's nothing that's happened in 80 years or ever in the history of the Kentucky Derby?
Well, he's the second longest shot ever to win. A horse in 1913 named Donerail went off at 91-1, so he's the second longest shot. Years ago, there was a famous horse out in California known as Silky Sullivan, and he was always so far behind you couldn't even see him, and then he'd make this great run and pass him. So, in a sense, this horse is kind of a modern-day Silky Sullivan.
Well, that's amazing. So this is really something special this year, was completely unexpected. No one even thought it was going to be possible, but kind of history was really made this year.
It was, although a friend of mine, who was a former student of mine, had the trifecta, which paid $16,000, and his theory on racing has always bet a long shot because sooner or later one of them was going to win, and in this case he was absolutely right. What's even more interesting about the horse is his breeding. He's a Calumet horse, and by winning the Derby this year, he's the 10th Calumet horse to win the Kentucky Derby. The Calumet colors are normally blue and devil's red and blue, but this horse was claimed from Calumet, so he was only wearing the colors of the trainer, which was Mr. Keene. And Calumet's breeding had a horse called Keen Ice. Keen Ice was the 20th best horse in 2015 in the nation. Nothing to really stand out, but he did do one thing. He beat the Triple Crown winner, American Pharaoh, ran him down in the Travers stake. So maybe that was just kind of a portending that these good horses could be run down by somebody with these kind of connections.
Well, that's really something. So this has been a really interesting, Derby season, and it's really something historic. So we thought about it and we're like, we need to share this with our public. And of course, Dr. Claypool is the guy I always go to if I'm wanting to learn something about the Derby and Derby history. So thank you again for watching this Curator's Chat, and we will see you on our next chat.